A few years back, I was working as a contractor, helping a family renovate their newly bought Victorian home in Pennsylvania. One night, after the crew left, I stayed behind to finish some drywall. The place was dead quiet except for the random creaks of old wood. While measuring one of the upstairs walls, I noticed something odd. The blueprints showed 2 windows in the hallway, but I only saw one. When I knocked on the wall, it sounded hollow. Out of curiosity, I cut a small square into the drywall. Behind it was another door, a door that wasn't on the blueprints. The knob was freezing cold when I touched it. Against my better judgment, I opened it. Inside was a small, dust-filled room with a child's rocking horse, a single chair, and the faint smell of old perfume. The air was suffocating, like the room hadn't been opened in decades. As I stepped inside, I heard the door click shut behind me. My flashlight flickered, and I swear I heard the faint sound of a child giggling. When I swung the light, the rocking horse was moving slowly, back and forth. I forced the door open and ran. The next day, when I showed the family, the wall was solid again. No door, no room. I'll never forget that night. Back when I was in college, I rented a room in a big old farmhouse outside of town. The landlord was an older guy who lived downstairs, and there was always this upstairs guest room that nobody ever used. One night, while I was studying, I heard movement coming from that room. Not creaks, heavy footsteps, like someone pacing. Thinking it might be the landlord, I knocked. No answer. The footsteps stopped. When I opened the door, the room was dark, curtains shut. A strong smell of mildew hit me, and my stomach dropped when I realized the carpet was wet, like it had been soaked. But there were no leaks, no pipes above it. I turned the light on. Just dusty furniture, an old bed covered with a sheet. But as I turned to leave, I noticed a wet footprint on the wooden floor. It wasn't mine. It was smaller, barefoot, and it led straight under the bed. I never spent another night there. When I was a kid growing up in Ohio, there was a house next door that everyone avoided. Curtains always closed, paint peeling, yard overgrown. But sometimes late at night, we'd see a faint orange glow in the upstairs window, like someone was walking with a lantern. One Halloween, my friends dared me to sneak inside. I only made it to the back porch before freezing in place. The back door was wide open, and I could hear whispers inside. Not just one voice, a bunch of them, layered, like a crowd talking quietly. I stepped in, the floor groaning under me. The air was thick, damp, smelling of rot. The whispers got clearer as I moved forward, until I realized they weren't whispers, they were voices, overlapping all at once. Then I saw a shadow move across the upstairs landing. The voices stopped. Silence. I ran for the door and didn't stop until I was in my yard. When I looked back, the upstairs curtain was open. A pale face was staring down at me. That house was torn down years later, but even now, when I walk past the empty lot, it still feels like someone standing there, watching. My grandmother's house in Virginia always creeped me out, but nothing more than the portrait hanging in the upstairs hallway. It showed a stern-looking woman in black, eyes sharp and cold. My grandmother said she was an ancestor, but everyone avoided that hallway at night. One summer, I was staying over, and I woke up around a.m. to use the bathroom. As I stepped into the hall, I noticed the portrait was different. The woman's eyes weren't looking forward anymore. They were looking directly at me. I froze. The air felt heavy, pressing against my chest. I blinked, hoping I was imagining it, but when I opened my eyes again, her lips had curled into the faintest smile. A cold draft rushed through the hallway, and the light above me popped, throwing everything into darkness. I ran back into the bedroom and slammed the door shut. The next morning, the portrait was normal again. Eyes forward, lips straight. But to this day, I refuse to walk that hallway after dark. Those were 4 scary, true haunted house stories that will chill you. Which story creeped you out the most? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true horror stories.